what Trump said about the election is really true. It's real. Now, they just told me there's a guy with dreadlocks going door to door for one of the women candidates, going door to door collecting ballots. Now that's illegal. You got one lady in my race saying that she's the incumbent and she's not. So Ron DeSantis is allowing that. So I guess Trump, you're gonna sit up there and let him allow this woman to have somebody, a guy with dreads, go to each of the old people door, the seniors, and tell them, oh yeah, I'm the guy that's gonna take your ballot to the box. Really? So you're right, Trump, these people really do be rigging election, these career Democrats. I can't believe this. So that's what they're spending, that's why they need all this money to run these races, so they can pay people to go to people's door and get their ballots. Ron DeSantis, you need to investigate this. All you got to do is go to them houses of the people who already voted. You know who already voted. Check the ring camera.
I used to fucking look up to you, dog. Fam. Do you know what that, by you stating that, do you know what's at jeopardy by them taking away our fucking voting rights? By you co-signing that shit? Huh? You putting yourself over everything that all of our civil rights leaders has fought and fucking died for. Niggas, people fought and died for that shit. The Racist Ass Heritage Foundation did like a 3-year decade study and only found 1,600 different cases of election fraud over 30 fucking years. Ain't no election fraud, dog. Ain't no fucking election. You talking about 0.0000 fucking percent. By you co-signing with this shit, do you know what that does?
What's up, family? So let me introduce you to who we're talking about today, because I know some of you might not know the name, but trust me, this story is something else. As you see on the screen here at the beginning of this clip, who was talking, you see right here he's wearing the glasses. His name is Uncle Luke, Luther Campbell, the man behind 2 Live Crew. If you don't know 2 Live Crew, you need to understand this group was one of the most controversial rap groups in American history. They got banned in Florida. They got arrested. They went all the way to the Supreme Court fighting for free speech. Uncle Luke was at the center of that fight. He was the face of Miami-based music. He helped put Florida hip hop on the map. But beyond the music, this man has been a community activist for decades. He coached youth football. He mentored kids. He helped young athletes get college scholarships. He's been in the trenches in Miami doing real work in the community for longer than most of these politicians have been alive. And now he's running for Congress in Florida's 20th district. Now, here's the thing. This man been anti-Trump for years, probably made a career off of it. I don't know. Built a whole brand around hating the man, talking about how Trump is the devil, Trump is a racist, Trump is going to put black people back in chains. All that stuff we've been hearing since 2015. And then something that made him stop and say, wait a minute, I was wrong. And that's a powerful thing, because it takes a lot for anybody, especially a public figure, especially a black man in the entertainment industry, to admit they were wrong about Trump. And what made him flip? He saw the Democrats rig an election with his own 2 eyes. He saw the game being played in real time. He saw the same party he was loyal to, the same party he voted for, the same party he defended, turn around and cheat. And when you see that with your own eyes, you can't unsee it. Now, and I know a lot of individuals, and I have said it myself, just looking at this from a bird's eye view before I start digging into it more and doing a video on it, now that we're currently talking about it and having a conversation, I'm like, oh, so now you see a point only because it's happening to you. And I'm sure a lot of people have came to that conclusion as well with this Uncle Luke situation and him coming out a day ago and admitting that Trump was right. So you can't go back to the way things were, and you can't keep pretending that both sides are the same when one side is literally caught on camera manipulating votes. And that is the part that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, because we've been told for years that the only reason black people vote Democrat is because the Republican Party is racist. But here's a black man who was fully in the Democrat camp, who believed that narrative, and then had to admit that the party he was loyal to was the one actually doing the dirty work. That's the kind of story that breaks through all the noise and gets people to actually stop and think.
You know, Malcolm X once said, we are not outnumbered, we are out-strategized. And Congressional District 20 is a prime example. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a career politician, is running against 4 black candidates for District 20, which is a historically black district, hoping that they all remain in the race so she can split the vote and slide into the seat. It would seem to me that there would be a time when we would come together and decide amongst ourselves who is the best person to win. Currently, Luther Campbell is polling the highest. The other candidates, Dale Holness, Sheila McCormick, and Elijah Manley, are still in the race. There's, I believe, 2 weeks to qualify. Sheila McCormick, as you may know, has resigned from Congress because of some improprieties and is likewise facing an indictment. Many believe that she very well may be staying in the race in order to leverage her criminal situation. That is certainly contrary to the black community. I would urge you to speak to all of those candidates, and let's decide on one before Debbie Wasserman Schultz can pull her trick and steal that seat. It's a historically black seat for black people.
A plan to consolidate the number of candidates in the race for Florida's District 20 has fallen apart. 4 black candidates said they would pick just 1 or 2 to move forward against Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz in an effort to preserve black representation in the district, but that hasn't happened. CBS News Miami's Manuel Bojorquez is your reporter with the latest tonight. Manny?
These were candidates Elijah Manley, Dale Holness, and Luther Campbell on Monday.
We had some good conversation amongst us.
Any decisions made?
We're working
the majority
toward
of the people agreeing on one thing.
What is that?
Keeping this seat represented by somebody with our lived experience.
CBS News Miami was there as the group, along with former Congresswoman Sheila McCormick, met privately to discuss who should move forward in the August primary against Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Wasserman Schultz's current district was drawn off the map by Republican-led redistricting. District 20 is one of the state's few majority black districts and has been led by black lawmakers for 34 years. In the end, all 4 candidates met today's deadline to qualify in the race. This was Dale Holness today.
So we're off to the races, but it has to be about policies that produces prosperity for the people.
McCormick, who resigned from representing the district amid a congressional ethics investigation, said in a statement, "I'm excited to campaign in the district I have represented for the last 5 years, where we've fought together and continued to get overwhelming support for my re-election." Candidate Elijah Manley also weighed in.
I don't think it's going to come down to black or white. It's going to come down to who works the hardest, and I think I'm going to work the hardest.
And candidate Luther Campbell announced his qualification today, saying he would support working families of Broward County. Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz also issued a statement today reading in part that she is running to deliver resources to the people of Broward who know and trust her. The primary is August 18th. We're live in Miami. Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News Miami.
Trump ain't fucking with y'all. And then another day later, what Trump say? Shit, all them black people, I vote with the black people, they voted for me. Yeah, Trump got 17% of black men voting for him. Trump know he can't erase black people in this country. Trump and Bannon and all the rest of them know that their only success with black people is to try and divide us and conquer us. That's why they got these fake-ass FBA dudes running around on social media. But even them black folks who did vote for Trump, they realizing too they got screwed because they thought it was going to get a check. They thought there was going to be opportunity. They thought there was going to be some better living under Trump. No, Trump just said, I ain't fucking with y'all because you can't fuck with black people. They can't fuck with black people because we deep in the military.
Now let's break this down because this is where it gets interesting. You heard his tune now in which he was anti-Trump. In the last clip, you'll see him actually admit that the party he was loyal to was the one actually doing the dirty work, right? So he watched the Democratic establishment in Florida rig the primary against them. Uncle Luke, who you see on the screen here, speaking his anti-Trump rhetoric in the past, and now we're going to speak to currently the present and how his whole rhetoric has changed to actually admitting Trump was right. So he watched them change the rules, Uncle Luke. He watched them move goalposts. He watched them use their power to try to push him out of the race so the candidate they wanted could win instead of the candidate the people wanted. And he had the courage to come out and say, I was wrong. And think about how hard that is. Think about how many people are watching him right now, waiting for him to slip up, waiting to cancel him, waiting to destroy his career. But he said it anyway, because the truth was more important than his reputation. And that's the kind of backbone we don't see enough in our communities. No matter what race you are, we got too many people and too many public officials enriching themselves and worrying about self-interest instead of actually serving the people in which they are a public official for the reason to serve the public and put the people first. And it's time to restore that. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. However, we got too many people who know the truth but won't say it because they're scared of losing friends, their platforms, losing their money. Benefits, I should say. But this man looked at all of that and said, I don't care. I'm telling the truth anyway. And that's real. That's the kind of integrity we need to see more of. And here's the bigger picture, family. This is not just about one rapper changing his mind about Trump. This is about what happens when you put your faith in political parties instead of principles. And I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just saying, look at the pattern. Look at how many individuals are waking up. And in this case, Black people are waking up. A lot of individuals, Black, white, Asian, a lot of individuals are waking up. Look at how many former Democrats, the diversity, which is beautiful to see. Because even if they disagree but still can acknowledge the truth, I'll respect that, because the simple fact is, I don't want nobody operating in an echo chamber or a vacuum. But the simple fact is, if you look at how many former Democrats are saying, wait a minute, I've been voting for a party that takes my vote for granted. That does nothing for my community. That talks about equality but practices segregation. That talks about justice but protects criminals. That talk about helping the poor but keeps them dependent on government handouts. And when you actually start looking at the results instead of the promises, the picture gets real clear real fast. Basically, these public officials want the benefits of a public official but don't actually want to do the responsibility of actually serving the people. And Uncle Luke, he's not a politician. He's not a pundit. He's just a regular person who saw something with his own eyes and had the guts to say it out loud. And that's what's going to wake more people up than any politician or any news anchor ever could. So now I want you guys to see the ultimate change of rhetoric with this last clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to agree with Donald Trump, but on this one, I got to agree with him. These career politicians, Democrats that I've always supported, in my congressional race, they are really cheating. One of the candidates, she has people knocking on seniors' doors, telling these seniors that they will take their ballot to the box, opening up the ballot, changing the vote, and dropping it in the box. They call them ballot harvesters. I never even know this even existed. See, I'm the career politician in this race. And I always said everything Trump says is a lie. He's making excuses. But he's right. These people do rig elections. They're literally going to seniors' house, and you can look at it on the data machine as to who voted and who didn't vote. So they're going to these seniors' houses, knowing that they do not have the resources to get in the car or the time to go and vote. So they're offering their assistance and going to these people's house. They got the money to pay for it. Guy with dreadlocks. When I get that footage, I'm going to post it. This is bad. This is absolutely bad. Absolutely bad. You got to win by cheating. Unbelievable. You should be ashamed of yourself. You're a liar and you're a cheater.
Hmm. Now, individuals have a right to question Uncle Luke because the simple fact is, why did it take for you to experience it just because you're running for a political seat, in this case in the Senate, to now you want to admit the truth? And a lot of individuals, like I say, have a right to question, as I was thinking, and I'm saying things that a lot of people may be thinking as well. Well, it's happening to you, so now you want to admit the truth. But if it didn't happen to you, would you be saying the same thing? Maybe you should have never spewed the anti-Trump rhetoric and just sought information that actually seeked out the truth, regardless if it happened to you or not. Because now individuals may question, are you just saying it because you want to win and get support for your votes to win the race? I think that's a valid question based on your past actions, pattern-wise, in the rhetoric that I showed you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that he has come to a reincarnation or a rebirth in the simple fact of coming out of ignorance but seeking the truth more before he speaks, or he's just saying the things using the truth to get into a political seat? Because when you see somebody from your own community, somebody who looks like you in this case, because a lot of I hate to use the race specifics, but individuals like Uncle Luke have spoken in regards of being pro-black sentiments. So now that he's black and he's speaking in regards of a community in a district that's predominantly black in the 20th district, now when it comes to somebody like himself who's black and speaking for individuals as a pro-black individual, as he portrays himself to be, a lot of people would say, for speaking for the majority of black people, and now trying to run in the seat to represent them. Well, now, if you are someone that looks like the community and now you are standing up and saying you were wrong, and it makes you stop and ask yourself, um, look, I have been misleading the people that I supposedly support and have the best interests, right? So all I can say is it opens the eyes up more than any politician or news anchors ever could. Because now there's someone in the community that he loves to predominantly confess he has the best interests of and standing up for black people. Now it hits different, right? Because now you are experiencing amongst individuals that look like you, in this case, Uncle Luke, who now is confessing that Trump was right. So, and he himself admitted he was wrong too. So two things can be true at the same time. He operated out of ignorance instead of actually speaking to individuals and seeking the truth, regardless if it happened to him or not. And also the truth is the election integrity that is being compromised in regards of cheating is wrong as well. Utilizing the advantage of preying on seniors and trying to act like you're helping them by coming off as you're doing the right thing to make sure that vote count, but then you're changing their vote to the liking of what you wanted to be for political power. Corruptness, as I would like to say, or corruption, playing out in real time on the backs of playing and using and taking the most advantage of our most vulnerable seniors who have worked and put in the time and the beauty of this country, United States of America. I call it another form of elder abuse in a way. Let me know what you think. It's just unfortunate to prey on those who are elderly or the weak just to uphold yourself. But it's okay because at the end of the day, righteously, we are supposed to help those who are weak and uplift them. But to come off as a weak act, to come off as a helpful act in helping the weak, but being deceiving, basically betraying our seniors, most wicked, corrupt, evil, demonic thing you can ever do. And I don't know how some individuals sleep at night doing this ballot harvesting, as he calls it, quote unquote. So in Proverbs chapter 18, verse 17, the first to present his case seems right until another comes forward and questions him. And that's exactly what's happening right now. For years, we heard one side of the story. We heard that Trump was the worst thing that ever happened to black people. And according to Uncle Luke's rhetoric and his experience we're speaking about and speaking to and just having a conversation about. And, you heard that Democrats were the only ones who cared about the black community from his statements and heard that Republicans were all racist. But now another witness, in this case, Uncle Luke himself, drawing back on his past statements and ignorant, has come forward as a witness who was on the inside of the Democrat machine, and his testimony is different. And that should make you think. All of us think. That should make you question everything you've been told, right? And for the people who aren't spiritual, here's a life wisdom. When you only listen to one side, you're not making a decision. You're just following orders. A real man, a real woman, a real adult seeks out the truth, even when it hurts, even when it costs you something, even when it even when it means admitting you were wrong. Because at the end of the day, being right is not as important as knowing the truth. And that's what Uncle Luke did. He valued the truth more than his pride so far based on this action. Again, we don't know if he's just saying these things to get into the political seat because he's looking at this as the out, because the outcome and him getting in this Senate seat isn't going the way he wants. So he has to take a political turn and now wants to come to light and see the truth. So we don't know if it's really from his advantage point of just using this as advantage and using the truth to his liking, and then he go back to his old ways in when he gets in position and gets the seat and gets the votes and the support. Who knows, right? That's why we always examine our hearts and reevaluate and make sure, I should say self-evaluate, and make sure that we get our information and seek understanding first and listen before we just make conclusions. That's a lesson we can all take with us, no matter what we believe politically, right? Seek, and everything you do, seek understanding first and listen. Be slow to speak, quick to hear. So let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, spread that peace, love, and positivity. Let the love supersede the hate, family. I'll catch you next one on That No Family. Peace. Love you guys. Appreciate you for rocking with me. And at the end of the day, thank you wholeheartedly for building this community together, because we are the community. And all I want to do is build a community with productive conversation and speaking the truth. Even if we agree to disagree, the beauty of perspectives is beautiful, because at the end of the day, at least it gets us thinking for ourselves critically. Catch you next one. Peace.